There we go. Good evening, everybody. Maybe as we get started, just let me know, can you hear me? Is the sound all right?
Yep, can hear you.
Thank you, Nicolise,
Can hear
Priyanka.
you.
Thank you very much. Perfect. Excellent, everyone. Welcome to our free webinar. Thanks so much for giving up your Monday evenings. I really appreciate your time. We don't want to hold you up for too long this evening, but I do believe that we have some valuable information to share with you. And I also realize that most of you joining are probably in very different places when it comes to your career, what you spend your time doing and making a living. So with that said, my name is Zander Botha. I am the Regional Director for eTEFL Online Teacher Training for the continent of Africa. I'm also a full-time online English teacher and have been since 2021. So over the past 4 years, I've also been teaching actively online, working with students from all over the world, but mostly in the Europe and Asia area. And really the goal with our session here tonight is, I'm sure you've seen some marketing materials, maybe you've received some of our promotional emails, maybe you've done our introductory short course to give you an idea of what English teaching really is all about. But what we want to spend our time on tonight is going through a few different things, specifically why more South African people are turning to online English teaching for either a complete career change. It could be for simply a side hustle, something you use to earn an extra income. And we want to look at 5 different things in tonight's presentation, right? First of all, we want to run through 5 reasons that this is a great opportunity for us as South Africans to earn a really good income for not so much time spent working. Secondly, how teaching online works. So we want to give you an idea, an overview of the in and outs, the nuts and bolts of what online English teaching really is and how it works. And we also want to look thirdly at who can become an online English teacher, right? So I know a lot of people maybe on this call, maybe watching this recording, are thinking, well, I don't have any teaching experience whatsoever. Does that disqualify me? We'll answer that question in tonight's webinar. We also want to look at how much you can earn from teaching online. So we'll give you a real world perspective and some case studies on how much teachers are earning as online English teachers teaching from South Africa today. And then finally, where to start, right? If you feel like this is something you might want to take up and you want to start taking your first steps, we want to show you exactly how to get started. So with that said, let's jump straight into the 5 reasons why this is such a great opportunity for us as South Africans, right? Reason number 1 is quite the obvious one, is the fact that you will be earning your income in US dollar, right? Now, what does that mean? Okay, firstly, that means that you will benefit from the exchange rate, right? From the USD to ZAR exchange rate, right? Now, to give you a perspective on what that practically means, in January of 2020, the dollar to rand exchange rate for us was right around 13 rand 99 per US dollar, right? Now, fast forward a few years, whereas today, actually last week, in fact, the dollar to rand exchange rate was right around 18 rand and 39 cents. So quite a big jump in just 4 years. And this means that if you were earning an average of, let's say, $1,500, right, working as an online teacher in 2020, that would have given you just short of 21,000 rand as an income, right? In 2025, however, you're earning 27,500 rand. So you're seeing almost a 7,000 rand increase without increasing your hourly rate, without working more hours, simply because of the rand devaluing and the dollar's value increasing, right? So it's almost like annually getting an increase without having to do anything more than what you're already doing. So that's the first, and I would say probably in my top 3 most important reasons why this is such a good opportunity for us as South Africans. Now, the second reason on our list is the fact that South Africans can offer very competitive prices compared to teachers, for example, based in the US or the UK or elsewhere, right? Now, the average salary in the USA as of 2025 is around 5,500 US dollar. That equates to about 102,000 Rand in the South African currency, right? In South Africa, the average salary as of 2025 is around 1,500 US dollar, which is equal to around 28,000 Rand, right? So as you can see, due to the much lower living costs in South Africa, as South African online teachers, we can offer lessons at more than half of the price that US or UK-based teachers need to offer and still generate a very, very good income. So as you can see, I mean, the difference in income is quite significant, which means that chances are students rather would prefer taking lessons with people from South Africa, seeing as our rates are much lower, but we offer a similar product in terms of quality as well. So that's the second reason. Reason number three, right, is the fact, and this is something that shocked me quite a bit initially, is that it seems like on the major platforms where people teach English online, it seems like the South African accent is one of the most desirable accents. So as you can see on the screen, I took a screenshot on one of the platforms that I work that has right around 27,000 active teachers and over 2 million active students. If you go to the country of birth, so if you go online as a student and you click on the country that you want your teacher to be from, you can see that South Africa is in the category of the most popular accents or countries for teachers to be from. Another screenshot from a different platform, you will see that South Africa also features here as one of the most popular countries that students choose teachers from, along with the US, the UK, Canada, Australia, and other countries as well. So yet another great reason for us to take up online teaching. Reason number four is because of the side hustle culture that's quite prevalent in South Africa. Now, we actually rank within the top 3 countries where side hustles are very, very common. Again, with the economy being as it is, with unemployment being what it is, most people resort to getting an additional income. And seeing as that's already part of our culture, this is probably one of the most convenient ways of having a side hustle and earning an extra income. Finally, reason number 5 is something that I've had the privilege of experiencing over the last 4 years, which is the fact that you get to control your own income, right? You determine your own income security. Even if you have a job, this is a great way to hedge yourself against losing your job, right? You have some bargaining power with your employer. It's a great opportunity, as I mentioned, to generate an additional income after hours, over weekends, even earning money while studying. If you're still a student, you're busy studying, but you want to earn some extra cash, this is an excellent way to do. Or what we've recently seen happening a lot is that people who are retired, they're on pension, but they're looking for something to keep them busy and to supplement their pension. We have seen so many of those people actually be really successful as online teachers. So these are 5 key reasons. Now, I can probably give you 100 other reasons why it's such a good thing for us as South Africans. But as we go through tonight's presentation, you will pick up some of those additional benefits. Now, a quick fun fact as we proceed, right? Now, the average earnings for South Africans, and this is as of 2023, meaning 2 years ago, which means by now it has probably increased quite significantly, is that TEFL teachers that are based in South Africa earn anywhere from 17 to 32,000 Rand per month. Again, living in South Africa, obviously depending where you live, depending on how many hours you work, this could be something that maybe just supplements your income. It could be a full-time job, as it has been for me over the past 4 years. Now, a few success stories that I want to share with you of people who have recently gone through our trainings. As we speak, they are teaching online very successfully. I want to show you a few of the profiles for these teachers. First up, we have Angus, based in Bloemfontein. He did our training a couple of years ago. Currently on only one platform. He has 12 active students. He's taught almost 2,800 lessons. And he's charging currently $15 per hour, which is right around 260, 270 Rand per hour that he's earning only from this one platform, teaching English online. Desi, she is a stay-at-home mom, based in South Africa. She did our course probably about a year or two ago. She has 23 active students, taught a whopping 4,500 lessons, charging $20 per hour, making really good money. $20 today, probably 350, 370 Rand per hour teaching English online. Again, only on this one platform. Deline, she's also a stay-at-home mom. She does this part-time. She has 2 active students on this platform alone, taught almost 1,000 lessons, charging $16 per hour. We have Dinette. She's also based here in Bloemfontein. She did our course actually a year ago. She has 28 active students, taught 1,700 lessons, charging $12 per hour. Gabriella, she's also based here in Bloemfontein. And she actually started out, after completing our training, she started out doing English teaching after hours and on weekends. And after, I think it was about 3 or 4 months, she quit her job and went into this full-time. And she's earning a lot more than what she used to earn in her day job. She has 20 active students, taught 2,700 lessons, charging $16 per hour. So as you can see, people from all different backgrounds, people from all walks of life, people from all different age groups, are really making a success of this. Now, moving on to the next very important question of who can become an online English teacher, right? Now, the barrier to entry is quite low. And that is yet again one of the reasons I believe that this is such a good opportunity for South Africans. You don't need to be extremely educated. You don't need a bachelor's degree whatsoever. All you need is, number one, you need to speak English fluently. Number two, you need to enjoy working with people. And number three, you need to have a laptop, a computer, a laptop or a computer with a webcam and an internet connection. I know this seems oversimplified, but this is really all you need, right, to get started as an online English teacher. Whether you're doing it full-time or part-time, we, over the past few years, have seen people from all backgrounds come through our courses and make a very big success of teaching online. We've had people from a legal background, nurses, teachers, real estate agents, financial professionals, salespeople, pastors, secretaries, IT professionals, retirees, you name it, we've seen them all come through. And these people were either people who wanted to make a complete career change because they were tired of their industry. We've seen people doing these jobs and only taking up online English teaching part-time. Some of them start out doing it part-time initially and then end up going full-time. So we've literally seen it all. And what we always tell people is, regardless of the background you're in, you've got to realize that you will end up working with professionals based in Europe and Asia. And what we see happen very often is, whether you were a financial professional in the medical field, people tend to link up with people in Europe and Asia from their own background, which now means that not only can you assist them in learning English, but you can actually have an added benefit because you understand their industries, and those students appreciate it very much if you are able to add that additional thing. And somehow, as we help you to create your profile, your introduction video, your resume, and these students find you, it's such a great relationship and mutually beneficial as well. Now, where do you start, right? Let's say you are either studying, you're retired, you're working, but in a field completely unrelated, or maybe a field related to teaching. What is the first step? How do you get started in this journey of becoming an online English teacher? Right. Now, a couple of steps that you need to take. Step number one is you need to get your TEFL certificate. TEFL simply stands for Teaching English as a Foreign Language. It's not a 3-year degree. It's not a 6-month diploma. It's a 120-hour course that just allows you to meet the international minimum requirement for any school or any platform that you will eventually end up applying to and working for. That's step number one. Number two is a program that really sets us apart from all other TEFL providers. I'm sure that all of you have seen TEFL courses for 200, 300, 400 Rand online. Something that really sets us apart is our mentorship program, which is really a program dedicated to helping you bridge the gap between, I have my TEFL certificate, I'm qualified now I need to find a job. And we try and help you to make that period between getting your certificate and earning money as short as possible. We've had people get jobs in as soon as 2 or 3 weeks. Even before the mentorship program has concluded, we've had people that have actually started working within that period. In that program, we help you with putting together your resume. So especially for people who come from what they would consider an unrelated background, we help you with the wording on your CV. We have dealt with these companies hundreds, if not thousands of times. We know what they're looking for. We know the wording to use. We help you put that in place on your CV or your resume. We help you put together an introduction video, which is something that you need to submit when you apply to some platforms. We help you with interview preparation. I've personally been through countless interviews. I've studied the interview processes. We understand exactly what these people are looking for, and we train you in how to pass these interviews. And then finally, we help you with applications to schools and freelance platforms. We have tried and tested various different platforms and schools. We've compiled a list of schools that are reputable, that are legitimate. We understand their interview processes, their onboarding processes, and most importantly, we know that they are hiring South African teachers, right? So we provide you with that list. Having everything prepared, you then submit your applications and start working. That's step number 3. You apply for jobs. And number 4, you start teaching. And that's what we've included into our training programs, is to make sure that once you've gone through our programs, there's nothing more that you will need to start earning money as an online English teacher. So with that said, I want to give you a quick insight into our TEFL courses, right? Because I know a lot of times people say, okay, well, I've never taught any subject before, let alone a language, right? Now, that's where our TEFL courses come in, right? In the TEFL course, we basically give you everything that you do not yet have. We show you and train you exactly on how to teach a new language. We show you the methods, the systems you need to use, how to teach grammar, speaking, listening, reading, writing, how to create effective lesson plans, and how to test and evaluate your students' progress. So even if you have no idea even where to start, we give you all of that in our TEFL course, right? Another question that I get quite often from people is how this whole thing works. So let's say I've done my training, I've applied to a school, now I need to teach, right? A lot of people want to know, who will be my students? Like, who will I actually teach? Now, there are 2 answers to that, right? There's one group that will be an adult group, aged anywhere from 20 all the way to 65, maybe even beyond that, who want to improve their English for various different reasons. It could be studies, could be work-related reasons, which is most of the people you'll be working with need to improve it for some reason related to their jobs. or for immigration. They want to move to an English-speaking country. They maybe have already moved there. They need you to help them find their way a bit more seamlessly in this new country, or for travel, or some people actually learn English simply because they love learning English. The second group of students you'll be working with would be children, right? Anywhere from 5 to 18 years old. Also for various reasons, such as they have to improve their English scores at school. Their parents are forcing them to take English lessons online. We see that a lot from Asia, for example, where these parents have realized in order for their kids to one day have access to the international job market, they have to learn English. And so that's a huge multi-billion-dollar market coming in from Asia. And then also immigration. For example, I'm working with 2 kids right now who moved from China to Los Angeles in America just a month ago, and they're paying me good money to help them find their way a bit easier living in the US. Now, the next question that I often get is, where will I actually teach? Seeing as this is not in person, it's online, you'll be teaching on various different platforms, right? Online schools or academies, freelance platforms, or even private students. Those are your 3 tiers of places where you will find students, and all of them have their own benefits and their own disadvantages. They all have their own potential earnings that differ from the others as well. But we get into all of that in our training programs once you get started with that. Now, what will the lessons be like, right? Most of your lessons will be one-on-one lessons. If I look at my lessons, about 90% of my lessons are one-on-one, which means one teacher, one student. But then I also have some small groups that I teach, right? And it could range from anything to conversational, which at the start, when I started teaching online, was shocking to me that someone would pay me $15 per hour just to talk to them about whatever is happening in the world, about their hobbies. But it could also include grammar. It could be task-related things like they need to do presentations. I worked with one of my students last week, helped her to prepare a presentation, a keynote presentation that she had to give in front of a crowd of Microsoft employees. So this morning she sent me the video of the whole presentation. So you get to be part of these people's lives. You get to share your expertise. For example, for me, I love public speaking. So presentations is naturally something that I really like to help students with. It could be that they simply need to be more comfortable engaging in meetings, leading meetings, or preparing for interviews. Whatever it is that you have done in your career as it relates to working for a company are the same things that these students need to do, but the difference is they can't do it in English as well as you can, and they need your help. Finally, it could be exam preparation, right? So some of these students want to immigrate to English-speaking countries. They want to study abroad in English universities, but these countries and universities have minimum requirements in terms of English. And in order for them to gain access to the country, they've got to pass these English proficiency exams, and they need your expertise in order to do that. And so they will pay you really good money to help them do that as well. So with that said, I want to pause for a moment as we're nearing to the end of our presentation. If you have any questions at this point, feel free to put them in the chat. We'll have some Q&A at the end. Feel free to put in your questions in the chat. You're also welcome at the end to ask questions, to unmute yourself. I'd be happy to address any of your questions. So with that said, the final question that I get asked frequently is about your hours, right? Will I have to get up at 2 a.m. in the morning? Will I have to stay up until midnight to teach these people? And the answer is if you want to, you can, but there's no need to do that whatsoever. I've been teaching online now for 4 years. My earliest lesson ever in my life was 6 a.m. and my latest one ever was 9 p.m. Currently, I'm only teaching from 8 a.m. until 6 p.m. at the very latest, right? So the reason you don't have to do it, seeing as your 2 biggest markets where your students will be based will be number one, Asia. Now, depending on the country in Asia, whether it's China, Taiwan, Vietnam, Japan, it could be anywhere from a 5 to a 7 hour difference where they are ahead of us. So let's say, for example, you're teaching a student in Japan and they want to take a lesson, let's say at 5 p.m. once they get back from school or from work. That means it's 10 a.m. South African time. Works perfectly. If you're teaching someone based in, for example, Vietnam, and they want to take a lesson at, let's say, 8 p.m. their time, it's 3 p.m. South African time. So the time zones work perfectly when it comes to Asia. Looking at Europe, it also works fantastically because for 6 months of the year, Europe has exactly the same time zone as South Africa. For the other 6 months, they're just 1 hour behind us. And the great thing since COVID is that a lot of these young professional people who take English lessons online have started working either fully remotely or partly remotely, which means that they don't have to wait rather until after work to take a lesson. They normally do it the first thing in the morning. So, for example, a lot of my European students love to book me at 8 or 9 a.m. I have some others that like to book me at 3 or 4 p.m. because they don't have to wait anymore. They're working from home. They can take an hour, quickly do their English lesson, have lunch, and then continue with the rest of their day. So both of these time zones work really perfectly. Now, as I've said, if you really want to wake up at 2 or 3 a.m., because that works for you, or if you're doing this part-time and you want to teach, let's say, from 7 p.m. to 11 p.m., you'll definitely get students in those times as well, but it's not necessary whatsoever. Okay. Now, with that said, I want to quickly share with you some of the programs that we offer, right? So as I mentioned earlier in the session, we provide you with all the training you need. Whether you're starting from scratch, whether you already have your TEFL certificate, we offer different packages for different folks, right? So the first packages I want to share with you, these packages are aimed at people who are starting from scratch, meaning you don't have anything yet. You don't have your TEFL certificate. You have absolutely nothing. We offer 3 different packages. The standard package is basically includes your TEFL certificate as well as a DIY self-study version of the mentorship program. Remember, this is the program that helps you bridge a gap with your resume, your CV, your introduction video, interview preparation, all of those things. But it's a self-study version of that program that's included here in the standard 120-hour program, right? Now, the next option, the professional 120-hour bundle, includes your TEFL certificate as well as a live version of the mentorship program where you jump on Zoom 2 times per week for 1 hour, where you go through your CV with one of our mentors. You go through interview preparation, all of these things you will do face-to-face on Zoom with one of our mentors where they help you, right? So that includes all of those things. This is our most popular package. For most people, this is more than enough for you to get started as an online English teacher. Finally, our advanced 150-hour package includes your TEFL certificate. It includes the live mentorship program. And what we've added additionally is a 30-hour practicum training where you get the opportunity to teach real-life students from Europe and Asia, where these students know that you are a teacher in training. They don't pay for the lessons, but it's a fantastic place for you to gain experience teaching real-life students. It's also something you can put on your CV as relevant work history experience. So I normally recommend this program for people who are quite nervous about the idea of an online classroom, right? This 30-hour practicum will help you immensely. But as I said, for most individuals, the professional 120-hour package is more than enough. So these options that I've just shown you again are for those people who have not taken any step, meaning you haven't gotten your TEFL certificate, nothing whatsoever. These packages will give you everything you need and more. Now, let's say, for example, you already have your TEFL certificate, but maybe you're having trouble finding a job. We offer different packages for you as well. First of all, the standard career mentorship, right? So this specific program includes the self-study version of the program that assists you with your CV, interview preparation, introduction video, all of those things. It's the self-study version, right? The second option, again, one of our most popular ones, is the professional one. This includes, number one, the live version of our mentorship program, where you get to talk to our mentors on Zoom twice a week for 3 weeks. They help you. They comment on your situation, your background, your experience. They look at your resume, send you feedback on your specifics, as opposed to the standard one where you're pretty much on your own, right? However, this option of the professional career mentorship program also includes exam preparation course, which, remember earlier I mentioned that some students want to immigrate to English-speaking countries, but they need to pass an English exam. So part of this bundle, we give you a course that will train you on how to help these students prepare for these exams. What does that mean? That means you can actually end up charging more per hour because this is a form of specialization. That leads me to our final option, which is the Advanced Career Mentorship Program. This includes the live mentorship program on Zoom with the interview preparation, CV, all of that. It also includes the practicum, the 30-hour practical training, and then it also includes the exam preparation course, where we'll train you and qualify you to be able to help students take those English proficiency exams in order to immigrate. Okay. Now, something that we pride ourselves in is that we offer our people lifetime support, meaning once you've completed our courses, you're not on your own. We stay in touch via WhatsApp. We add you to our WhatsApp group with a few hundred other teachers that have gone through our program that are actively working. If you need any advice, any help, any resources, if you want to find more opportunities to teach, you can use that group to your advantage. We never leave you. You're always welcome to get in touch with us. We constantly keep in touch with you via this group as well as other forms. So again, you're never on your own. Even we have teachers on there that have been teaching for 6 or 7 years. They're still on there, sometimes asking for advice, but many times giving advice. All right. Now, as we come to an end of our webinar, please remember to post any questions that you may have in the chat. I see Dorette has already posted a question. We'll get to that within a minute or so. So for those that have joined us for today's webinar, again, thank you so much for taking the time to join us for this webinar. For all of you that joined us tonight, for those watching the recording, we are offering you a promotion, right, on any of our courses. You will get 10% off of any of our programs or our courses until next week, midnight, Monday, the 18th of August. If you use the promo code PROMO25, you'll get 10% off of any of our courses or our programs within the next week. So if you enroll before next week, Monday at midnight, you will be able to benefit from that 10% discount. With that said, if after tonight's session, you've asked your questions, maybe you have questions that you don't feel comfortable asking here, and you'd like to get in touch with me, you can see my contact details on the screen right now. You can find our website. You can find my email address there as well, or you can find my contact number that you can send me a WhatsApp, give me a call. If you'd like to book a Zoom call with me, just to discuss your situation, maybe to ask a few more questions, maybe to discuss which of our programs would suit you best, you're welcome to scan this QR code. It'll take you to a free call that you can book with me. We can have a chat on Zoom and figure out what's the best for you. If you still have some doubts and things that concern you before you make that decision, we can have a conversation and clear up those things. Then finally, if you want to listen to some stories of people that have gone through our training, people who themselves speak about what they did before they became online teachers, why they decided to become online teachers, and where they're at right now. Real life stories, the good and the bad. Scan this QR code. I've interviewed several of the people that have gone through our courses to share their stories of success and failure. Feel free, if you just feel like you need to hear some real people talk about this, feel free to scan this QR code and listen to a few of those stories. So with that said, I am done speaking. I'm going to respond to some questions. I see some people are asking for my email address. There you go. I'm putting it on screen. So let's address a few of these questions. Doret Bosov says, I'm Doret Bosov. I have completed my TESOL certificate 6 months ago. I am a teacher, but not a language teacher. I'm teaching computer applications technology. Will I be able to teach English as a language? 1000%. So what's great about your situation, Doret, is it's going to be very easy to put together your CV, because you're already a teacher. I assume you've been a teacher now for a few years, so that's going to look great. Most of these schools, they really don't care what you've taught. If you just state there, I've been a teacher for this many years, even if you've not been a teacher, you've just done training in your company. If you can just take anything, put it on there, and it looks like teaching, these schools are perfectly happy. So I see you already have your TESOL, which is great. So what I would recommend, if you're having trouble finding jobs, Doret, is to enroll in our mentorship program, which is that 3-week program on Zoom, where we help you get your resume set up, your introduction video. We help you with interview preparation. And then at the end, we give you a list of schools that we've tried and tested. We know they're hiring South Africans, so that you can get started. So that would be a great next step for you. And actually, our next group of trainees are actually starting the mentorship program this coming Thursday evening at 6 p.m. So we still have, I believe, 2 spots available in that group, Doret. If you're available and you have the means, you're welcome to join. If you can't make it this month, we run new mentorship groups every single month. They generally start either within the first or the second week of every month. So if you can't join this month, next month there will be a new group starting. Nicolise Harding says, is there tech specifics we need to get to teach from home, like headphones, camera, RAM on laptop, internet speed? Yes, so very good question, right? So headphones, I always tell people, when you're starting out, have headphones, right? Because some schools, especially those focusing on teaching children, they love to see you wearing headphones because it comes across a bit more professional, and generally speaking, the sound quality through headphones is a bit better, so students can hear you a little better. In terms of camera, you only need to have a laptop that has a 720p camera, and most laptops, I want to say, bought within the last 5 years would have a 720p camera. RAM, their minimum requirements generally is 4 gigs of RAM. Internet speed, they generally stipulate 4 megabytes per second as a minimum. I have found that to be a bit lacking in experience for teacher and student. I always recommend at least 10 megabytes per second, whereas if you have fiber, I believe that their minimum speed is 10 megabytes per second. So that should be sufficient. I hope that covers all of what you wanted to know, Nicolise. If not, please have a look. Nicolise says, you interviewed my father's accountant's daughter. Okay, what would you suggest as a background setup while teaching? Very good question, Nicolise. So what most schools will tell you is just a plain white background. So that could be a wall that's like a cream or a light color. That would be perfectly sufficient. But in the mentorship program, we actually help you with exactly what needs to be on your background. So it really depends. If you teach for schools focusing on kids, they like to have very specific regulations for what should be in your background. but it's mostly just a plain background because they want to avoid you having any religious references on there, political references. So they ask you to keep it plain. But for example, in the mentorship program, we tell you how to make a better first impression. For example, a plain white background, but like teacher Nicolese, like just a laminated A4 teacher Nicolese with a couple of pictures or something like that. So they ask for plain, but they really do appreciate when you do some effort, as long as it's not any religious or political or controversial things that can be seen in your background. It should be fine. Monica says, I have a TEFL certificate and already started teaching, but I'm struggling getting clients. Okay, Monica, I'll need some more information. Maybe you can, Monica, if you can send me an email, I just have a few questions for you in terms of where you're teaching, where you've applied, and also how many hours you are teaching. So I just like to have a look at that before I can comment on your specific situation. Okay, those are all the questions that I see right now. Anyone else? You're welcome to type your question in the chat or unmute yourself, ask the question if you want to. I'll maybe give it a few more seconds to see if there are any other questions before we wrap it up here.
Hi, Zandit. I would like to know that, do you guys supply us with the materials? You know, like, I'm trying to think what to call it, but the materials per age and per need. So say, for instance, from the 8-year-olds until the 18-year-olds, you supply us per age. And do you supply us per need? So someone that needs to have an English presentation done, or write a CV, or just standard communication material. Do you supply us with that, or do we need to go search?
So that's a very good question, right? So when you work for online schools, right, they always supply all the materials. So they will literally tell you, you'll go into your profile, you'll see, oh, tomorrow I have a booking at 8 o'clock with, let's say, with Gary, and they will tell you this is the lesson you've got to teach. They provide you with all the materials when you work for an online school. For freelance platforms, some of the major ones have material like a resource library where you can literally go in and go how to make a CV, and they have a lesson plan for that. Now, for the others, you've got to source the materials yourself. Now, for everyone who completes any of our courses, you get access to our free resource library with a few hundred lesson plans that you can use for free, right? So, and then obviously you've got online platforms, which we'll also speak about in the mentorship program, where you can download lesson materials for free. So I've been teaching online now for 4 years. I've never paid a single cent for any materials because, again, working for schools, they provide everything. Working for freelance platforms, some of them have a resource library. If that doesn't work, if you've done one of our courses at ETF Online, you get access to our free resource library. If that doesn't work, then you still have the internet where you can download thousands upon thousands of free lesson materials. Literally, I often go onto Google. Even, I'm not sure how many of you have used ChatGPT. It's fantastic. You just type in, give me a lesson plan for a 50-minute online English lesson with a student that is a B1 level working in a marketing company, and the lesson topic should be about compiling a resume. ChatGPT, I see you say Grok. Grok is fantastic. I actually love Grok more than I like ChatGPT. But yeah, there are more than enough tools, even above and beyond what we provide you with in our resource library, what schools provide you with, and what freelance platforms provide you with as well.
Perfect. Thank you so much. I have one last question that I just suddenly thought of. Have you ever received a request from a client or a teacher, or not a teacher, but a student, to help them with a specific subject at school in Afrikaans, in English? So say, for instance, art or biology or science or something.
Yes, indeed, I have. So you obviously find that with younger learners who are at school, right? So I had 16-year-old student from China who wanted me to help him with math in English. Now, don't even give math enough chance. I just told him, listen, I can help you translate the terminology. So that's what he told me, is he doesn't necessarily need me to help him with solving mathematical problems. He needs me to help him to learn the English terminology of math. So that I use ChatGPT a bunch for that. So yeah, and I've had someone else with, I believe it was an accounting subject at school. So you will often find kids asking you that. But again, these are only then kids you get through freelance platforms. You will never have a kid that you teach as a school employee asking you for that, because they have very specific set lesson plans that you need to follow. These lesson plans are often very simple. I remember in my first 2 years working for a company based in China, they provided all the lesson materials, as most schools do. It literally took me 90 seconds to prepare a lesson. It was
Oh,
was
wow.
so I would teach 9 lessons back to back, 25-minute lessons, and literally have a 5-minute break in between. I wouldn't prepare for the next lesson um, if it wasn't before that 5 minutes. So 5 minutes before, open it up, 90 seconds, have a look at it, go on. It's so very simple, especially the ones that these schools supply. But again, when you're teaching on freelance platforms, you'll be responsible for the materials, and there you might have a parent or a child asking you to help them with something more specific. Yeah, so
Okay.
it could.
Okay, cool. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Monica, I see your hand is raised.
Oh my. Hello, Sander. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I hear you loud and clear.
Okay, thank you so much. I wanted to ask, pertaining your teaching platforms that you have, do you have maybe like private clients, or like with others, do you also get clients that will be on contractual basis, maybe for a year or 3 months and so forth, or it's just private clients with their own terms, or as to how long they're gonna take the lesson for? Uh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So what happens most of the time, Monica, on freelance platforms is that these students purchase a package of lessons. So they would do a trial lesson with you to see if they like your style, if they like you, right? Now, after that trial lesson, the student generally decides, okay, great, I like the teacher, I like the method, I want to continue learning with this teacher. Then they would buy a package of lessons. They could buy 5 lessons, 10 lessons, 15 lessons, 20 lessons, right? So they are not obligated to sign up for a period. Instead, they sign up for a package of lessons. Now, if they buy 10 lessons with you, they can't use those lessons with someone else. Those are lessons bought with you. So they need to take those lessons with you. So most of my students buy a package of 10 lessons, let's say every month or every 6 weeks. They go through those lessons, they complete them. Literally, once we've done the last lesson, they go online, they buy the next package of 10 lessons, and it's just recurring like that. So it's not a period, because these platforms, in order to get more students, they don't want people to have to sign like a 6 months or a 3 month or a 1 year. But if you do a good job, and we provide you with strategies on how to make sure you keep and you retain these students in the long run, we help you with that. And if you do a good job with that, you'll realize that learning English is not a 6-month or a 12-month process. It's a multi-year process. I have students, right, that I've been working with for 3.5 to 4 years, and they're still booking lessons with me. Does that mean I'm not doing a good job? No. If you go and look at the research, they say that in order for someone to go from absolute beginner to fluent in English, you're looking at around 2,500 hours of guided study to go from beginner to advanced. 2,500 of guided study. Now, most students take 2 hours per week of guided study. Do the math. How long will it take someone to become completely fluent, let alone just jumping up one level? So if you do a good job at retaining students, meaning you make sure they like your method and you make sure they like you'll retain them. As I've said, I've had students for 3.5 years. In the meantime, they've gotten their kids to take lessons, family, friends, neighbors. So if you can impress your core group of students, they will become your best marketers, and you'll get a bunch of long-term committed students. I see here Monica also asked what determines the rate for lessons. So with schools, so we help you get set up with these two strategies: finding jobs with schools, getting started on freelance platforms. With schools, they determine your rate. They tell you, we'll pay you this much per hour. So you have no say in how much they pay you, but it's a great start. It's a quick start. It's a safe place to gain valuable experience as you're starting out. For freelance platforms, you determine your hourly rate. We provide you with a strategy in the mentorship program of how to make sure that, number one, you get students quickly, and number two, you quickly increase your hourly earnings as well. So depending on where you work, and we in the mentorship program recommend you, at least for the first year, you work for both schools and freelance platforms. And for schools, as I've said, they determine what you get paid. Freelance platform, you set your own hourly rate. Okay, folks, I don't want us to go on past 7 p.m. So maybe one final quick question from anyone before we wrap up. We will also be sending all of you the recording of this webinar, so you can review it again if you'd like. And just a reminder, if you'd like to instead have a one-on-one chat with me on Zoom, feel free to scan this QR code. I'd be happy to have a chat with you. But yeah, if there are no more questions, then I think we're going to wrap it up. So with that said, folks, thanks so much for all of you taking 1 hour out from your Monday evenings and spending time with us. I hope this was helpful. I hope maybe this eliminated some of the fears that you have, or maybe the myths, some of the myths you had about online teaching were busted. If not, feel free to book that call and I can talk you through that. But with that said, thank you so much for your time. I wish you all a fantastic week, and I hope to talk to you soon. Bye-bye, everybody.